Talk You Pick special is live, giving you the option to pick the league of your choice and get 30 days of picks for only $99. 30 days of the NFL for $99, done. Just want NBA and NHL for the next month? You can do that for only $99 each. That's right, $99 gets you every release from the league of your choice from your favorite handicapper, including 5% best bets for 30 days. No coupon code is required, and 30-day sports passes will go back to regular price Sunday at midnight. So lock in as many sports and handicappers for only $99 before time runs out.
Hey guys, welcome in. Happy Tuesday here. It is the college basketball tip-off show powered by WagerTalk.com as the season rolls on here. And we got a couple of games we're going to break down for you over the next 25 minutes or so. And we're going to do it, of course, with three of the finest gentlemen that you will ever meet, hands down. Well, absolutely fine. Yes, Drew Martin back in the house here, as is Tony Mejia, and, of course, Dave Koken returns, hitting cleanup for us here. And Drew, we talked. You were on the show yesterday. We talked about a couple of games last night. Some of your takeaways, if any, last night watching those go down.
Sure, Joe. I mean, college basketball season is back, and it's always good to be on with you. Thanks for having me, Dave and Tony as well. But talking about Illinois going down, one of the top teams in the country, kind of shown a loss here. That was very surprising. Also in the best bet category for me, Joe. I got a little, lucky is always kind of a tricky word, but did hit a 3-point shot with 2 seconds left to get the +8 on UC Santa Barbara, the push for the best bet. So I didn't lose my first best bet and got a push in exciting fashion. So that was a great way to end the night in degenerate style fashion, Joe.
Love that. We love those late night degenerates for sure there. And Tony Mejia, my man, how was the evening? And what do you got going on at WagerTalk.com today?
Well, thank God that college basketball and the NBA are going off, although I didn't have a great NBA night, but that NFL game was just brutal. The no-show for the Rams. I guess I missed Robert Woods a ton. So I didn't enjoy that. I did enjoy some college basketball. I actually had taking the points with Marquette for the gold sheet, but not as a client play. So, man, I just watched that Netflix documentary, Bad Sports, I think it's called. And the first episode is on Stephen Smith, the Arizona State point-shaving scandal. If you wouldn't have known it, Andre Curbelo was shaving points last night because he was absolutely brutal, and that's just not the way he plays. He's one of the better point guards in the Big Ten, just completely lost his mind, taking bad shots and awful turnovers, and Brad Underwood let him lose that game. So wild to see. I did win with Providence, taking the points, did win with North Dakota State. Got lucky there with a late ending against UNLV, and San Diego just a little close against Cal, but close doesn't cut it in gambling. But a decent night, and we'll turn the page to Tuesday and Wednesday.
Yeah, well, we got some top 25 teams in action. I know, Dave, you got a best bet up college basketball, I believe. What else is going on at WagerTalk.com?
Yeah, I was on Marquette. What was the free play yesterday? Look, Illinois is not the same team without Kofi Cockburn. I mean, it's a tremendous absence. He's back next game. And you'll see Illinois get better as the season goes along. Don't put too much into these November games. Obviously, from a results standpoint, we want to win them. But a lot of these teams are going to be completely different later in the season than they are right now. Illinois will be fine. Okay, they were not good last night. But I didn't think they would be good last night. It was a big game for Marquette and Shaka Smart, his first real big marquee matchup as the Marquette coach, and they got that one done. Had a best bet on UMass, which was real easy against Penn State. Another best bet tonight, the 4-2 so far. Only the best bets are for sale. Everything else is free. So I've got 2 other games tonight that I like, and those are free. Just go to my homepage, wt.buzz/DC at WagerTalk. Don't think I'm going to have any NHL tonight. The game I liked got canceled. I wanted to play New Jersey against Ottawa. Even as big favorites, but Ottawa's games are postponed right now. The next 3 games are postponed because they can't stay healthy with COVID issues. Haven't put anything up for football yet, but I will later today, coming off a very good Sunday in the NFL, following a very bad Saturday in college football. So it worked out even on the weekend. but real happy with the NFL. And that's it. Let's talk some games.
Let me ask you a quick, Dave, too. What do you do with a team when news comes out like what we just heard with Duke, right? A couple of players arrested, including Coach K's grandson. But more importantly, I believe Banchero was part of that as well. Is Duke like just a don't touch when you get information like this at this point?
Yeah, I don't know what to do with it. So I just basically put an X through the games. Sometimes at the smaller level, if I get information that's not real public on like a Big West team or something like that, yeah, that's great. But anything that's public, the odds makers have the same information. So I don't know. And to me, it just becomes a guessing game at that point.
Yeah, tread lightly there, guys. Gardner-Webb against Duke here tonight. But we are going to start out west a little bit here. We're going to take a look at Oregon for game number 1. Going up against BYU. Opens up as Oregon with a 4-point favorite, 141.5. Dana Altman and crew. This is really, I guess, safe to say, going to be their first real test since they won, by an average of 20 points against SMU and Texas Southern. BYU comes in here also 2-0, Drew. So pretty good test here for the Oregon Ducks. What do you think we're going to see?
Sure. You bring up Dana Altman here, Joe. And, of course, I always go to the slow tempo that they play. He likes to play that, defensive focused basketball, but they're also good on the offensive side. Oregon, the Ducks this year, I think, a team that can make a run at the Final Four. And BYU on the other side of things, Joe, in terms of, have they been tested so far this season? Both teams have played top 60 teams, but in terms of step up in class, we are going to see it on both sides tonight. Of course, what BYU having played San Diego State, and like you talked about, Oregon playing SMU, I guess both two top 60 teams there. But I'd actually look at this from a total standpoint, Joe. Both of these two teams ranked in the 300s in terms of average offensive possession length, both more on the slower tempo. Head coach Mark Pope there for BYU. The last 2 seasons, he's put together 2 good teams for BYU. Sidewise, I think I'd kind of pump the brakes on betting BYU. Just because it's their first time out of Provo. I know BYU travels well, they have the fan base, but at the same time, they're in Oregon. Not sure how much fans are really factoring into this. So I'd actually go at this from a total standpoint, use the slow tempo. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of possessions here, Joe. So seeing this up into the 140s now, 141.5. I don't think we get there. I think both of these two teams a little underrated on the defensive side of the court here. So I'll actually take the under of 141.5 in the 10 p.m. Eastern tip.
Yeah, it neutral here, Tony. I believe the Phil Knight Invitational. So this game, I believe, is in Portland. So what do you think? Is it a side you're leaning towards, or do you agree with Drew? Maybe look at the total here.
I'm leaning towards the side, but yeah, certainly I do agree with Drew because it's an NBA arena. Sightlines are a little bit different, and BYU is so predicated on Alex Barcelo getting off and knocking down jumpers that, if I'm Dana Altman, that's my number one priority is making sure he doesn't get comfortable. They got Jacob Young, the Rutgers transfer, who's a really solid defender. I think they'll start him on there, but certainly you send double teams and you force some of these other kids to beat you. At this point, BYU is without Richard Harward, who's sitting out due to a cardiovascular issue. They're 7-footer, so they've already got some other guys in there. Transfer Tejon Lucas from Milwaukee and Seneca Knight from San Jose State are now in key roles. I don't think this BYU team is as good as the ones Pope has had in recent seasons. So certainly they're vulnerable, but yeah, the win over San Diego State was impressive. But now you take them out of their home element. Marriott Center is one of the better home court atmospheres in the entire country. I think in Oregon is going to have the benefit of the home crowd, even though BYU does travel well. I like Oregon's roster. I think I trust them a little more in terms of getting baskets around the rim. And Quincy Gary of the Syracuse transfer has really started off well for them. So that's my lean. I like Oregon laying the 4, but I could definitely see this being a lower scoring game than expected. So I like Drew's underpick too.
Pretty good litmus test for both these teams here, Dave, at this point in the season. What do you think we're going to get from Dana Altman in Oregon here?
Well, I'm not real sold on BYU. I had BYU last game against San Diego State. I won it, but they weren't good. I mean, they're not shooting the three ball well at all. 9 for 37 in their first two games. That's not good. And the fact is that San Diego State more lost the game to BYU than BYU winning it. San Diego State could not shoot the basketball. 9 for 19 from the foul line, 3 for 22 on threes. So it was a game where San Diego State lost. They didn't play well, and BYU happened to be the winning team. Oregon, boy, you love the balance of this team. They've had 4 guys in double figures in both games. I don't think it's necessarily a step up for Oregon. I think that they just, SMU. I think SMU is probably a better team than BYU. So, and they handled them without any problem. I think Oregon's the better team, and I think the 4 is a little bit short, to be honest with you. I think the line here should be more in the range of about 7. Even with the game not really at home for Oregon, but close enough. I like the Ducks.
All right, going with the Ducks there tonight, guys. We're going to head over to, your favorite place, Robert, our producer. How about we take a ride to Houston here, guys? Not to see Robert, of course, but to look at the Houston Cougars taking on Virginia here. 8.5 as an open with a total of 123. And Houston, I believe this is their 3rd home game now, and they've had some success already, including winning 27 consecutive at home here, Tony Mejia. Is that something you want to get in front of?
No, not at all, especially with Virginia. I think this is the season that we see the regression for Tony Bennett's team. I mean, I actually love his style. I don't mind them mucking games up with the pack line and winning ugly. I think if you win, especially in the college game, you win. And I don't care how you do it, style points don't fly. But yeah, this particular Virginia team, I think, is just flawed, especially with what they want to do. The only holdover from the championship team is Kie Clark, the point guard who can't score. So, you bring in Armani Franklin from Indiana, Jalen Gardner from East Carolina. I mean, Gardner was a number 1 in the AAC, and he was clearly the best player on that Pirates team. But, I mean, at the level that Virginia is going to play at, if that's your best player or Franklin's your best player, you're in a little bit of trouble. And I don't think it's a fluke that Navy won that game the way they did. I would say that Houston's going to win this by double digits. Certainly they lost a couple of key players. Dejan Giroux's in the NBA. So is Quentin Grimes, obviously. And, they also have talent back, though. They got Kyler Edwards from Texas Tech to transfer in, Josh Carlton from UConn, a 7-footer, Reggie Chaney from Arkansas, who's also another big. Calvin Sampson's got weapons to work with. They're at home. They're a really good home team, so I don't want to step in front of that. I think, though, before I look at lines, I make my own. And then my mind wanders to, I wonder what they're going to make this. And it didn't surprise me to see it near double digits for Houston. I think the Virginia is in the toilet at this point.
Yeah, I mean, Dave, what do you think? It's obviously they did a nice bounce back last game against Radford, but this is not the Virginia of old, is it?
They lost to Navy. They're not very good. Okay, this is a down year for Virginia. And Houston, look, Sasser's just a stud. Okay, the kid, he's a really good player. He's one of the best players in the country. Houston's loaded again. The problem with laying the points is this is going to be a low possession game. Virginia wants to go as slowly as possible on offense, and they're still going to play the pack line defense. And Houston is fine with playing slow. In fact, Houston is one of the slower tempo teams in the country. So I have difficulty laying a lot of points in matchups like this, but I don't want any part of Virginia. Houston is just better basically at every position, it looks like. And I think the Cougars eventually can win this. It might be a 60-48 type of game, but I think Houston eventually gets there by double figures. So that's the only side I'd play in the game.
All right. What do you think there, Drew? Kind of hard, 27 at home, and Houston, they don't beat themselves necessarily in this spot. What do you like here tonight?
Sure, Joe. And I think Tony and Dave make great points. I mean, the Houston side of things, having that great team last season, yes, they did lose some, but Sasser, like Dave just touched on, he's been a monster so far. I mean, not against the top caliber talent here, but he's put up north of 20 points in each of the 2 games so far. Look, but both of these 2 teams, guys, very, very slow. To Dave's point right there, both bottom 20 in terms of tempo. I have the Virginia Cavaliers as the slowest team in all of college basketball. We've seen it year in, year out under head coach Tony Bennett, just the type of basketball they're playing. They're just kind of plodding up and down the court, playing defensive-minded basketball. And I don't think they have the talent on the offensive end to really score a lot of points. So I don't think we're going to see a lot of possessions at all, Joe. I could see this, being in the high 50s, sub 60 in terms of possessions. You don't have to be a math genius to do a point per possession. Where's that going to get you? We get a total at 119 and a half, 120 here. I don't think we get there. It's always tough to bet these low totals to the under, Joe, but I do like it under here. I think Houston, number 341 in terms of tempo. Virginia, the slowest team in the country. Hey, and sidewise, I would look to Houston if you're just a side better here, but to lay 5.5 here with the low possessions, and if Houston does have a weakness, it's at the free throw line so far, and seeing it just 65% free throws so far, Joe. If it gets to a foul fest and Virginia is able to keep it close, I don't like Houston in that scenario. So that's what kept me off at sidewise. I would look towards the under, though.
Leaning towards the under in that one. All right, good deal. We got one more game here we're going to take a look at. Big East taking on Big Ten again. We love this. Seton Hall taking on Michigan here tonight. Michigan opens up as a 9-point favorite, 138.5. And Prairie View, we saw Michigan take care of business, Dave. Seton Hall beat Yale, actually, rather easily. I believe it was Sunday. And what do you think? Good test here for both of these teams. How high are you on Michigan?
I don't know how it's possible not to be high on Michigan. They're a Final Four team on paper. And that makes it really difficult to me to bet Michigan because you're paying a premium every time they take the court. It's not exactly a secret how good they are. So the odds makers take that into that's in the process, and you're just not going to get value on Michigan. The problem is, and Seton Hall's a good team. I mean, Seton Hall's certainly a top 50 team, maybe a top 25 team. That's possible, but yeah, I just don't know that they can compete with Michigan for 40 minutes. So I'm kind of nowhere on the game. I think Michigan's just too good for Seton Hall, but I know the line's higher than it should be. So those are the games to me to stay away from. I can't find any value in the game. Michigan, look, I have no idea how Seton Hall is going to stop Dickinson. The guy's just ridiculous. But at the same time, Seton Hall is probably not going to be on the wrong side of too many blowouts this year. So I can't risk that many points. If I had to play it, I guess I'd take Seton Hall, but there's no chance I'm betting this game.
No, not going near it. What do you think, Drew? Both of these teams, elite defensively. So what do you think? Are you looking at the total here, or are you looking at a side here, Drew?
I'm actually looking at the side, Joe. And today's point on Michigan, a top 5 offensive and defensive efficiency team. We'll likely see them, Elite 8, Final 4. Who knows what the ceiling is for them? And I do agree with Joe in terms of especially early season college basketball, everybody kind of reading these articles and everybody's opinion on Michigan being so high. I think it's tough to make money, game in, game out, betting those type of teams. And, actually Buffalo kind of hung around with them in that game one. That might be something to kind of watch here because Seton Hall on the other side of things, I actually think they're riding under the radar a little bit. And Dave brought up, Hunter Dickinson, the 7'1" center for Michigan. He's going to be playing in the association one day. Actually 6'10" center for Seton Hall. Not that he's going to be able to stop him by any means, but maybe contain him to a bit. He's a kid from Montreal. He's played well so far. He's put up some points. His defensive efficiency numbers look good. So that actually might help Seton Hall a little bit. And they are the number 1 defensive efficiency team so far in terms of opponent's field goal percentage. I think that helps them out. Getting 8.5 now as the underdog, a team that plays a lot different type of offense than Michigan. I'd actually look towards the dog here. The dog might be barking. I'd take them plus 8.5 here. Plus the fact if it does get to Foul Fest territory, this is something I like to circle, guys. The favorite only shooting 56% from the free throw line. That's the Michigan team. That is their weakness, Joe. I would look towards Seton Hall here.
Could certainly come into play here tonight. You know, one of the things I also saw about Seton Hall, Tony, is that they're a little bit older. I think their average age, 21 and a half, almost 22 years old. So they've got guys that have been around the block. I don't know how intimidating this is going to be for them here tonight. How do you see it?
Yeah, I mean, certainly Michigan is one of the tougher places to play. But, yeah, I think Seton Hall is going to be able to hang in here. That was a really impressive win over Yale. It doesn't sound like it. Yale obviously is a class season off. But they've got some guys on that team, and they'll be a factor in the Ivy League. And to just exterminate them 80-44, that was impressive. Teams can no-show, especially early in the season. But I think this Seton Hall team has the goods. I mean, they lost Andrew Mamukelashvili, but they've got bigs to replace him. Alexis Yetna, who Drew was referring to, played at USF. Before that, he was a top recruit and transferred out. He's had injury issues, and when he stays healthy, he's really productive. They bring in Bryce Aiken, who played at Harvard and lit it up before he had a knee issue. When he's healthy, he can be really good. Miles Cale is a all Big East caliber guard. Tyrese Samuel comes off the bench, averaging 13 points and 10 boards. So they can throw some bodies at Hunter Dickinson. And, Drew stole my analysis right out from under me because I'm all over Seton Hall because of the free throw shooting. Hunter Dickinson is shooting 45%. Devontae Jones, the point guard that is going to run the show as the transfer from Coastal Carolina, he's shooting 50% from the field. Yeah, small sample size, but he's averaging 3 for 6 from the free throw line. So it's not like he's not getting there. The freshman Musa Diabate and Kobe Buffkin, both in the 50s. Brandon Johns, who plays a lot, is a 60% free throw shooter. So certainly you can play the foul game. You can get all these missed free throws along the way, and they'll add up. And if you're giving me 8.5 with Seton Hall, hopefully they add up to avoid a double-digit loss, because I think Seton Hall is going to give them a scare. Probably won't win, but I'll take the points, 8.5. Give them to me.
All right, taking the points. There you go, guys. 3 interesting games here. Oregon, BYU, Virginia, Houston, and Seton Hall, Michigan on tap for you tonight, along with 47 others that'll be taking center stage. So we'll start with Drew up at the top here and see if there is a game that you might have had circled here. Drew, you like a little more than everything else on the card here tonight.
Sure, Drew. I like how you said that. 47 others, man. College basketball season is back. And I'm going to the first game we talked about. This is my best bet, guys. Under 141.5 for Oregon and BYU. 2 slower tempo teams. Number 321 average offensive possession length for Oregon, and in the 300s for BYU. 2 good defensive teams as well, seeing it up into the 140s. I like it under. And keep in mind, guys, this is an NBA court here, Portland Trailblazers home. These 2 teams coming there for the first time, kind of new arena. I think that helps shooting percentage-wise. Under 141.5, Joe, Oregon and BYU for me.
Awesome stuff, guys. Make sure you visit Drew over at WagerTalk.com here today, locked and loaded with the card. What about it, Mejia? Where are you going? What are you looking at here tonight?
I'm going to Beantown, where it's Boston University against Northeastern. These are schools that play every year. They're separated by like a mile or two. I've actually been to Northeastern's court where they'll play this. I shot around back when I used to shoot around before games a long time ago. But the Northeastern Huskies lost star point guard Tyson Walker to Michigan State. They've got a lot back, but so far they've been hammered in tough games against Colgate and Georgia State. Both of those schools are favored to win their conferences, but still, a bad look to get hammered by both of them. And Boston University, well coached by Joe Jones, he's been there forever. Has a lot of depth this season, is also going to compete for their conference title. They've got 2 seniors in Javonte McCoy and Jonas Harper, who are among the better defenders in their conference. And this is a rivalry game, early rivalry game, but both teams will be up for it. Might even like the under here, but I'll go ahead and take the points. It started at 5.5. Now it's available at 4.5. I think it's going to be a game that goes down to the wire. Maybe the team that has the ball last wins it, in which case I want to take the points. So give me Boston University at Northeastern.
Love it. All right, taking Boston U here tonight. Again, guys, Tony Mejia, visit his page at WagerTalk.com and check out one of the many articles he writes over for the Gold Sheet as well. All can be found over at WagerTalk.com. And Dave, best bet tonight, locked and loaded here, along with some other great information on your page at WagerTalk.com. But what is there a game that you circled here for us tonight?
Well, this actually is one of the games I played tonight. It's one of the free plays. It's a 2% play. And it's Oregon. I love the balance on this team. And quite frankly, was not impressed with BYU in their win over San Diego State. I thought it was more an Aztecs loss than a Cougars win. And that was in Provo. This one's on the road. I know it's not in Eugene, but close enough. Home neutral, certainly for Oregon. I think the Ducks can win this game by a fairly comfortable margin. And I'm comfortable laying the points with Oregon.
There you go. All right, Drew, I got to go. I know you didn't mention it, but I'm going to, man. Give me the FAU Owls to upset Miami. Are you kidding me with 7.5 points? The tallest player on Miami is 6'9.5". They can't rebound. Their bench is atrocious, and FAU has been salivating at a chance to get them in their own home court in Boca Raton. So I'll take the points tonight with FAU. There you got it, guys. Make sure you visit Drew Martin, of course, Tony Mejia, as well as Dave Koken over at WagerTalk.com. Best bets are up there. A lot of great information. Also on their Twitter pages, guys. There's the best bet recap for you. Boston U, Oregon for Dave, under 141.5, BYU, Oregon. And I'll back FAU, the Owls, with the 7.5. Guys, appreciate it. Much more coming here today on the YouTube channel of Wager Talk. We've got the college football show be back up at the top of the hour, of course. We've got the NBA show still coming your way. A lot of stuff going on. Come back and join us here. We appreciate the time, guys. We'll talk to you again soon.
Tuesdays is known as $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers' best bet or daily package for only $2.